Hey guys, Deathdealer here, welcome back to another episode on the AutoCraft server. This episode is a bit different because one, we're not going to be working on any farms today. We're going to be working on our base project, finally, yes I know. And two, we surpassed 5,000 subscribers in between episodes. I didn't think that would happen, but it did. As of recording this, we're currently sitting at 5.3 thousand. So, I'd like to thank all of you new guys for subscribing. Also, if we press F3, we have a new processor because we're currently running on a brand new PC. That's right, we're running a Ryzen 9 5900X. We're meant to be running an RTX 3080, but that's with the current stock issues. I need to wait a while for that. But yeah, new PC, everything is looking good. So yeah, throughout this episode, since we've got the new system, we're going to be experimenting with different render distances. Normally I record on render distance 10. I'm currently recording on render distance 16, but oh, that's a creeper there. How did you even get in there? Let's just kill you. Wow, okay. I'm just going to leave him down there. But yeah, we're currently recording on 16 chunk render distance, but we're going to be experimenting with pushing it all the way up to 64 chunks because we've got a powerful system, so we can do that now. But yeah, before we start with today's projects, we need to tackle a bit of a problem we have. So, right now, I have absolutely no rockets. I have plenty of food. There you go, there's my food choker. But as it stands right now, I have no rockets. So let's head on over to the mob farm we built back in episode 3 with Rustic and Splashes. Get some gunpowder, get some sugarcane, and craft up a whole bunch of rockets. And after a tiny little bit of crafting, we now have a shulker box full of Flight Duration 3 rockets. Also, one thing I forgot to mention a few moments ago, audio in this episode might sound a little bit different, obviously with the new PC. Things have changed, so please keep that in mind. But yeah, now that we have enough rockets, we can now get started on our work for today. Alright, so for the location of this base project, we're not going to be doing it where we've been building up until this point in the season. That's going to be basically my industrial area. I did want originally I did want to have a base there, but I kind of changed my mind in the middle of building there. So I've been doing some brainstorming and I know what I want to do. So we're over in the ocean here next to Splash's area. As you can see, we have the render distance at 64 chunks, so we can see the shopping district in which Top Tower has actually got bigger. We can see the spawn island just about. If I fly over there, I'll be able to see it, but I just haven't loaded that area properly. That's the thing, when you're playing in 64 chunk render distance with Optifine, you need to fly into the areas to load them and then fly back to where you want to record, which is kind of annoying. So yeah, we can see the spawn island over there. If we look over here, we can see Rustic's starter island, along with his current mega project, the Skyblock, which is insanely big. Over there, we can see Mechanic's base, and just over there where that blue line is, that is where Boss lives. So yeah, we are in a very, I would say high traffic. We're in between a lot of people, which is really, really good. Now for this build itself, because obviously if you've seen the thumbnail, you already know what we're going for, but I'm a really big fan of Star Wars, I'm a really big fan of Star Trek as well. However, Splashes is doing a Star Trek theme build there, and I thought, why don't we do something Star Wars themed, because I think we can do something very interesting with this area. So to start off with, we're going to need a bit of a staging area for this project, because by the end of the season, we're basically going to have a massive island in the ocean here where we're going to be building an Imperial city that has one of those giant Imperial domes along with the terrestrial buildings. So think of the capital city of Lothal in Star Wars Rebels. That's what we're basically going for here. So to start off with this staging area, the staging area needs to have chests and stuff like that to hold all of the resources for this massive project. So what I'm thinking is we're going to be building an Imperial Airfield with TIE Fighters, TIE Interceptors, maybe even a Lambda class shuttle. So why don't we turn on super fast build mode? Well, we need to go and collect the resources first. Let's turn on super fast build mode, level this island, and build it right here. Alright, so I hope you enjoyed that time lapse. I'm not sure whether it's going to come out well. Obviously I haven't edited it yet, but the fact that we're playing 64 chunks and every time I log into the game, like just look at that. That should be rendered, but it's not. It's very, very strange, but we're going to keep the 64 chunk thing for the rest of this episode and see how it turns out. But yeah, we have the airfield in place. The airfield itself, the tarmac, which was most of the build, and then I did all of these TIE fighters here, and then the TIE interceptors here. If we pop into spectator mode, you can see the true scale of this airfield. It is quite large, which also means that we're going to need to build a fairly substantially sized island in order to make this look quite good. You may also notice as well I placed some carpets on top of flat surfaces on the fighters because I want this area spawn proofed. I need to do the same with the Lambda shuttle over there, but that's going to be interesting because of the colours. Also, these fighter designs and the shuttle design are not mine. I'll leave a link to the videos where I got those from in the description. Give credit where credit's due, they're not mine, but I really like them, so that's why we've used them here. I also had to light up the tarmac itself because after I finished working on this, let's just say there was a lot of mob spawns, because all the caves below this thing are lit up, and all the caves in the surrounding area are lit up. So the only place mobs could spawn was right on top of this thing. So they did, and let's just say it was a very interesting process, trying to, get rid of all of them without blowing up all of my hard work. So yeah, personally I'm quite happy with this project. There's a few other things I'd like to add. I'd like to add like a control tower, but I don't really have enough space on the current platform for that, along with a little building like in that corner there. So what I might do is I might extend it off this way in the future. One thing I do love though is working in this area. I can see like lots of different bases and things around me. It's so good. I loved it. But yeah, next steps for us is we're going to be working on the custom island. And what we're going to do is we're not going to bother extending it all the way down to the ocean floor, because we're going to be changing this in future episodes. So what we'll do is we'll bring it down maybe 2 or 3 blocks below the surface, and then what we can do is we can add on to it in the future. But what I'm thinking as well is in terms of the island, I don't want it to be too big, like too much bigger than this. So basically what we're going to do is we're going to follow the way Minecraft generates terrain, like with the tiger biome over there and with other islands. And that means we should be able to get something put together fairly quickly, and it means that in the future when I say me and Splash want to do the volcanic island stuff in this area, we can tie this into it fairly easily. Alright, so I decided to go ahead and place a grass layout around the platform just to get a feel for what this island would look like. Now what I've discovered is since this airfield is that large, the island itself is going to be flat. Now a build like this would have been more suited for like a kind of like mainland continent type thing, like over there for example. Well, not over there, that spruce area isn't really ideal, but like kind of like in the plains where you're in the centre of a continent and you've just got lots of space to work with. On an island it doesn't really work as well because the sheer scale and things like that, so we're going to need to do a lot of work to get this thing to look good. One thing to mention is we're working with 2 different grass colours, because obviously with the original island, now we've also got ocean. So yeah, but the colours are fairly close together. You shouldn't really notice any major changes. So what I did was I came out a few blocks from the edge of the actual tarmac, and I started placing the grass in kind of more randomised patterns, because Java, in Java and Minecraft in general, terrain when it's generating, it doesn't generate in like long straight lines. It kind of bumps in and out, up and down, and all that sort of stuff. And as you can see here, there's not really any repetition. It's all kind of randomised a little bit, which is quite nice. Now, right now it looks a little bit odd. There are some places that are a little bit similar, but when we step down onto the next layer, it's going to be mostly sand. So that will fix the issue with this thing a little bit. But then again, it is still not going to look. It's going to look out of place a little bit. So what I might do is I'm probably going to redo this island later on once we've done more of the project, because by then I'll have a little bit more practice and I'll feel a little bit more confident with this stuff, because as it stands right now, this is kind of new to me. I'm not used to doing this kind of terraforming. I normally take what's already exists and I improve it. I make improvements. I don't do things from scratch, not like this. Anyways, let's get a move on with this thing, and in the next clip we should have most of the island's terrain done. Alright, so we've got the sand in place to make the beaches of this thing, and this is the first time I've actually looked at it from a distance, and it doesn't look that bad, but it could do with some more randomness in places. So basically I started with the top layer of sand first, then did the second one, and then the bottom ones right there. I've also went one block into the ocean to start doing that, but rather than continuing down with that, because that wouldn't be realistic, what we're going to have to do is we're going to have to start kind of angling it down like so. When it gets to about this height, it will switch over to gravel, and then it should blend in with the ocean floor quite nicely. Also, yeah, this area is really good for drowns because of how dark it is, so they're constantly spawning in here, which is kind of funny. But yeah, this area is starting to come together. I've also went around the outside and bone mealed the grass, because my logic behind this was basically the Imperials have came into this area, they've flattened it, and then they've built on top of it, and then over time nature has came back, but they aren't really looking after the area, they just happen to be here, so that's why it's kind of looking a bit overgrown in places. But yeah, this is a really good start to this project. Now unfortunately we're out of time to work on this project for the rest of this episode. One, because I'm recording this on the day of release, which is, you know, fun, and two, because I've already recorded the rest of the episode. So what we're going to do now is we're going to go and meet up with Splash, because she wants us to do something in her ship.
Ahoy, Deathdealer. How are you today?
I'm not bad, I could be better. My voice is not in good condition.
I've noticed it's a little bit better than it was before, but it doesn't sound great. So, I'm sure you've seen that I've added some area to the back of my ship. This is going to be a really large villager trader for quartz and glass.
That's going to be quite impressive.
Now, I don't have villagers, and one of the things I'm told you are good at, mostly by yourself, I actually haven't heard anyone except you recommend yourself, is that you can build villager breeders very well.
Yeah, I've got a bit of a reputation. It might be one that I've given myself, but I am good at building villager breeders.
I was wondering if you could... So I have this big chunk in the back of my ship here that's probably going to be mostly empty. I was wondering if you could fit a villager breeder in here. Preferably one that, like, it automatically feeds them, and then it can spit the villagers out, and then, I don't know, maybe I can, like, press a button and just a villager just pops out right here.
Yeah, I could set something like that up fairly easily. There's a lot of space to work with right here.
Yeah, the back end of the ship is pretty big, though. And now that I've put this area in here, it honestly doesn't feel quite as big as it did before.
Yeah,
it's still big, but it doesn't feel overwhelmingly large.
Yeah, this has started to fill in the internal side of the ship quite a bit.
Yeah, it is. So, yeah, I mean, I think that's all there is to it. Also, once this is done, we'll have so much quartz and glass. It will make both our lives so much easier.
Oh yeah, I know, right? It's gonna be great.
So, well, I guess I don't know how to transition out of this yet.
It's alright. Just leave me to it. Give me a few seconds, and we'll have a villager breeder ready to go.
Sounds good.
Alright, so yeah, we're going to be working on a villager breeder for Splashes. This is going to be quite good because she only comes to me for villager stuff, like coming to my base and stuff like that, which I'm perfectly fine with. But yeah, she's finally going to have her own breeding system. So this area has changed since we actually met up to talk about it. She's been working on her ship quite a bit, and I must admit, I'm loving the look of this place. It's really come together quite nice. I'm loving these wide, expansive corridors. But yeah, last time these walls went up, so you can see in there, that's where there's going to be a super smelter. She wants all the villager stuff over here, so what I'm thinking is we're going to do a crop farm here, and we're going to do a villager breeder here. And then what we'll do is we'll have the villagers outputted into like a 1x1 cell, and then we'll set it up so that you can put them into minecarts and then send them wherever they need to go. We're also going to set it up so that we can either put the food from the crop farm into the villager breeder itself, or store it in a storage system. Now, one thing about this is if we just hop on down here, down these corridors right here, you can see Splash has been doing some interesting things with detailing right here. And I'm quite a big fan of this. It breaks up the texture of it breaks up the smooth quartz texture quite a bit, and it just makes this area have a lot more depth. So we're going to try and tie that into the design of the area. So yeah, you guys know what these farms look like because we've built them countless times. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go and build them off camera, and I'll bring you back when we have something to present, and hopefully it looks good. Alright, so after working in this area for a few hours, we have the breeder and the crop farm up and running, and I must admit, I'm really happy with the way this is looking, the way we've tied it into the theme of Splash's build. So this is just a 5-cell villager breeder, the same thing we did for Lego Flame. Purple beds, because purple is the best colour, obviously. We also have a small crop farm here, it's just 2 cells. So this is about an eighth. No, it's about a quarter the size of the crop farm I have back at my base right now. But yeah, this should do Splash for what she's needing. And besides, she's spending a lot of time in this area, and the way we've set it up, this isn't sending food over to the breeder all the time. It's only when you want it, so it should be able to build up a stockpile. But yeah, why don't we actually look at the interior? Because I decided to tie it into what Splash has been doing. So if we just pop down here, oh there you are, you can see it over there. Hopefully she isn't recording anything right now. Basically, these halls before were kind of like plain because Splash hadn't got to doing these, so I did these since I had the materials, because I extended it down here like so. Now you may realise we have a wall like this, and then we've got an opening. Basically, I designed the corridor first, so it was a wall like this, and then I did these areas as an afterthought, which, to be honest, these areas are looking awesome. And I didn't really think about how this opening was. So me and Splash spent a little bit of time tearing this down and then creating a little intersection like so. Obviously we were continuing with the same design theme with the kind of darker rounded areas like we have in here, and that made it fairly easy to tie this area together. And now that we've done so, I'm really a big fan of this type of crossroad, and so is Splash. In fact, I think she might be changing up some of her, some of her ship to make it match this stuff, which is quite nice. But yeah, so basically what we've got here is the baby villagers. We pop into spectator mode again. They come down here, go around here, and then they go up into this water chute right here, where they get trapped underneath a block. Now since there's bubbles, they don't suffocate. So they sit here until they grow up. When they become adults, they pop up through the block, head on over, and then drop down into this chamber right here. Now, one thing I learned from doing Lego's one is basically villagers cause a lot of lag, especially when they're spread out and they're bumping into each other. However, when they're in a 1x1 area, they will still cause lag, but it won't be anywhere near as much because a 1x1 area can only hold 24 mobs. So this thing is actually moderating itself in terms of the amount of lag it causes to the server. So there could be 24 villagers here, and there can also be 24 villagers in the, the baby holding area. And technically there can be 24 villagers right there, because if there's 24 villagers here, these guys won't fall all the way through, so they'll get trapped there. We basically need to put a dispenser back there that has a bucket in it, and then when this happens, we can just remove it, and that would fix any issues. When we need a villager, all we need to do is right click this button. There's a minecart system, dispenses minecart, sends a minecart up there. The way the hitboxes are, it will pick up one of these villagers and it will send it on its merry way, in which they're outputted right here. I've left this open so that Splashes can do whatever she wants with this area. And as I said, over here is the storage area for the crop farm, in which, yeah, it's slowly gathering materials. But as you can see right there, we have a hopper minecart, and if we right click this lever, it will send the hopper minecart through this rail line right here, up here, and over to the breeder, where there's an unloader which will put the food into this system, which will then go into the breeder, and then breeding can happen. So yeah, I am quite happy with this project. We got it done fairly quickly, it wasn't all that much hassle, and we tied it into Splash's area very nicely. Also, fun fact, I'm recording this part before I start work on what we did at the beginning of the episode. Before we end the episode, I'd like to show off this brand new event that's going to be happening very soon. This was set up by Rustic, and obviously it involves a bow, as you can see here, so let's go and take a look at the lectern. Welcome to Nerf Wars, the new server event. Your goal in this event is to shoot other people and to dodge their shots. And how to join? The rules and whatnot, read the rest of the book. Okay, let's read it. Sign up. There's no set price to join the event. The minimum is 1 diamond, but you pay anything, you pay whatever you want with this. Rename your diamond to your in-game name and place it in the chest to the left. Fairly simple. Sign up closes this Saturday. On Sunday, a bow and ammunition will be provided, and the scoreboard will be set up. Alright, that's cool. Obviously I've spoke to Rustic about this game and let's just say it's going to be a lot of fun. If you guys want, you can read through each of these pages. I've already read through the rest of them. So, there's one. There's the next one. Miss one. There's the rule page right there. Some more rules. Some other things. And there we go. See, I've already read through all of this thing and I'm looking forward to this game. So what we need to do is, yeah, I've got like mob items and stuff. What we need to do is we need to get out a diamond, which I should have some here. I seem to have misplaced some shulker boxes somewhere. And yeah, okay, there we go. Also, yeah, all these plushies, we're going to be making use of those at some point. Okay, so let's just put our diamond in here, change it to our in-game name, which is Deathdealer _, and there we go, sorted. Now all we need is we put it in here, and there you have it. There's 3 other people that have already applied. No, who are participating. There we have it. Also, another thing I'd like to mention, since we're about to end the episode right there, this episode was probably a little bit different to what you normally get in terms of like audio quality and stuff, since we switched PCs. I have since rendered the replay, and obviously you guys already know this, but I was under the impression that it you know, time-lapse all the chunks that were loaded. However, obviously it's bound by like server render distance and stuff, so no matter what my client render distance is at, if it's above the server render distance, I won't render anything outside of that. So yeah, in future, I'll probably need to do some more experiments with that. I'm kind of annoyed that it didn't work the way I wanted, but the time-lapse did still come out quite good. Also, I'm going to be experimenting with streaming soon, so make sure you remember about Discord, because I do a lot of like notifications and stuff on there. So make sure you go over and join that. There's a link to that in the description below. Also, if you're interested in this server, if you like what you see, there's an application form linked in the description. Click on it, fill it out, and who knows, maybe you can be playing on this server with us at some point in the near future.
I'd like to thank you all for watching this episode of the AutoCraft so far. Make sure you go and watch everyone else on the server. On the left hand screen right now, there are 2 videos, one that YouTube wants you to watch and one that I think you should watch. Make sure you go and watch them, and remember to leave a like, subscribe, and hopefully you will enjoy the videos.